So movies now are like the books before the internet. I'm not saying that movies are the same as books, but it's funny now that I see the difference when you go from YouTube, social media, to watching a movie. It's way more relaxing. I find social media so aggressive, so intense and so aggressive. So I find when you spend too much time on the internet, you're living in a heightened state of dopamine, which can give stress. It's a heightened state of stress, but is very numbing. And you're also living more in your imagination, in your imaginative, abstract part of your brain. You're not present in your body and aware of your present. And when you have done that for too long, I find that you may wake up with a sadness, with a gloom. And sadly, a lot of people don't understand what that is. And they will do something to avoid it, to avoid feeling that. So drinking a coffee, get a boost of energy, going to social media to give you that perception of social, to fix the issues that you may be feeling of sadness and gloom. And that's the coping, that's the running away, right? The running away is feeling this sadness and not truly staying in it, but coping with something else. And there are people who do this much more extreme, which is, again, like drugs, hard drugs, light drugs, or shopping, sex, gambling, this kind of stuff. So I'm discussing a little bit more of the mild version before you end up in that extreme state where your body now is fully shutting down. And work can be taken to extreme. The same thing as the constant state of changing. But that can also be in a medium, not mild form, but in a medium form, right? So when you wake up and you're feeling gloomy, a bit sad, like maybe a depression is coming, it is extremely important in that moment to come to the present, to not distract yourself, to learn to sit with that sadness because it's telling you something. And if you listen, potentially, this can be the catalyst that changes your life towards your greater self and your vitality. What the body is asking of you in that moment, is asking you to come to this present, is truly to be in your present, coming back to nature. Go for a walk. Look at the trees. Listen to the wind. Pay attention to the plants, the flowers, the birds. And start to pay attention to your environment, not the neighborhood per se, maybe the neighborhood too, but your home, your partner. What kind of home have you built? What kind of partner have you attracted? What kind of job are you doing? Are you doing something that is for your parents? Whether they're alive or not is irrelevant because it is the nervous system and the imprints from childhood that are still living for your parents. So truly look around you. Are you with someone that is authentically connected to you? Are you authentic with your partner? Can you express yourself authentically? Or are you stuck in an image of who you think you need to be to get their approval, get the validation? Or simply do you feel fear of them? Are you afraid of your partner and you are not wanting to admit it? Or simply you're single and living in a place that you're outgrown. You don't want to be there anymore, but you are too afraid of change. And you don't believe that you're capable of getting your own place, buying your own place, or just moving. That can also bring this gloom that your body is saying, come back and pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to you. You're ready to move on to the next level. You're ready to face your challenges, to face your limitations, and grow and push through that challenge. Because even when we're ready to change, that we have done enough work within us, that we are ready to take that leap to the next level of who we are, we still have to face the challenges. Even the simplicity of moving, it can be a challenge, right? So you wake up with a gloomy feeling, a sadness. Most important thing is that you do not avoid it. Is that you feel it. You bathe in it. You listen. You listen to the part of your body. What is it saying? And what it's telling you is to not avoid, to see what life is trying to show you, to listen to your truth, not the ego, not the fear-based, not the parents, your parents, whether they're alive or they are passed away and it's in your nervous system, especially when your parents were not authentic and they did not allow you to be authentic, you know? This is a good telling, you know, do you listen to your parents or not? Is, have they forced a very strict way of life on you without giving you space for authenticity, without allowing you to express who you were, who you are, different from them? Have they not allowed you to be different from them? Especially as a child, was there a lot of shaming, guilt tripping, punishment, violence? If there was a lot of violence, then most likely a part of you has been repressed to get approval from them. So there's a large chance that as an adult, you are living a life for their approval, or even out of fear of their disapproval. That's also another form, another way that we build our lives for other people, which is, do we build them so we don't disapprove of someone? Not just their approval, but their disapproval. So you will not shine. You will hold yourself back. You will keep yourself small. Right? So before you hit depression, before your body shuts down, before your nervous system shuts down, your immune system, your organs, and you end up in the hospital, listen to those days that you feel sad, that you feel gloom, that you may even feel melancholy, I think. Listen to those days and be present Take a day for yourself. Take a day that you're unplugged from all social media and all internet and all work. Go for a walk and truly be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Because that moment is a catalyst. That moment can be a catalyst for your change, for your evolution. That is extremely important. And the thing is, the beautiful thing, I don't know if it's beautiful or it's just a pain in the ass, but there's no way around it. So let's just make it beautiful and completely surrender to that reality, is that you can't run away from those moments. You can't run away from those problems. You can't run away from your authenticity, your truth. You can't run away from your truth, your self-truth. And you cannot run away from your fears, your darkness, your shadow, your ego, your problems, your trauma. You cannot escape it. And if you ignore the little signs, the days that you wake up with gloom, the day that you wake up with gloom, you feel a little sad. And because when you truly listen and you're fully honest with yourself, you will always know your truth. Always. We all know always. We just blind ourselves so well. We blind ourselves so good that we can convince ourselves that we couldn't see it. But we know. So if you ignore those days that your body is just hinting like, hey, come back to the present. Hey, you're not being honest. Hey, unplug. Respect. Be authentic. Say no to this. Say yes to that. When we ignore those moments, those little signs, they only accumulate in your system. They will only accumulate more and more and more. And every time you need something a little bit more extreme to numb that part of you that is asking for your attention. And this is how you end up eventually in the hospital. This is how you end up getting sick, your immune system shutting down, organs shutting down, This is how you end up in a place like that. Creating violence just so you avoid facing yourself. Projecting all your issues onto somebody and attacking them just so you don't have to face them. Right? Oppressing others, controlling others, again, just so you don't have to face your insecurities of not feeling safe in the world. This eventually do destroy you. And sometimes it happens when you're 60, 70, that you come so close to your deathbed and your body finally says, fuck it, man, I've been living a lie my whole life. I am nothing more than a lie. And you know. So, life is so much more vibrant when you're authentic and when you're honest. You're not meant to follow your parents' footsteps. They're meant to give you a guide and a place to start from, but you're meant to surpass them. You're meant to evolve from them. You're meant to continue on a new path. Not only that, the environment changes. It has changed so much that you can't even live the same life they lived. But we are not meant to be stagnant beings. We're meant to evolve and change. We're meant to change. Everything changes. The only constant is change. Unfortunately, right now, we've created this insane perception of change with the way societies are going, all through social media, technology, innovation. At some point, it's no longer innovation, it's destruction. Innovation would be to find a sustainable way of living in the modern world, sustainable with the environment. That would be innovation, wouldn't it? It's been a long time that humans have lived like that. 95% of human history, we were egalitarian, sustainable communities, sustaining with nature, egalitarian with each other in a more peaceful form. It was after the Ice Age, maybe 12,000 years ago, where there was extreme lack of resources, where there was no food, and we learned to grow our own food. Agriculture, the agricultural revolution, was the beginning of violence, of wars, violence on women, oppression, slavery, power dynamics. Can you believe that's only 5% of human history? That 95% of the time we actually lived more egalitarian. Communities were more equal with each other. It wasn't about separating per sex. Isn't that nice? So that genetic information is still in us. Yes, we have different genetic expressions right now because epigenetics changes with our environment, affects epigenetics, right? But that genetics of those, 180 to 200,000 years that we lived in a sustained, peaceful way, there are challenges, we're very in the present, whether animals, environmental, you were really like animals. You're an aligned being, present in the moment, fighting your environment, the elements. So we have that genetic information in us, still there. We lived like that for 95% of the time, which was 200,000 years, about. And that part of us still calls for us to come to the present. When you feel depressed and you feel down, you go for a walk and you get health. You feel health when you connect back to nature, because that's how we grew up. Authenticity is nature. There's nothing more authentic and more honest than nature. That's one reason why I love animals. It's because they're so extremely honest and authentic. So those moments that you feel gloom and sadness, listen. Listen to those moments. They're telling you, wake up. Wake up, you're blinding yourself to your truth. You're blinding yourself. You're living a lie. You're stuck in the system of insanity, which is social media. It's a system of insanity. It's like stress on steroids in a sense, but very, in a subconscious layer almost, like it's really just a numbing of your brain. A numbing of your brain, heightening dopamine. You know that when you run into a bear, or I keep saying a bear, but any kind of animal that threatens your life, you get dopamine, right? Adrenaline, boom, to get away. Social media can do the same, and you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there, stuck in all these fucking stories that they almost don't seem real. You know what's fucked up? What's fucked up is that If you spend a lot of time on social media, you will go to bed and you will have memories of the shit you watched. Isn't that crazy? Your thoughts and your memories end up being information that you've watched on social media. They're not actual stories from people, memories from people. I think that's so crazy. Do you know that if you get a bunch of people in a room and you tell them a story, their heartbeats will start beating at the same time, would synchronize? Because through story, we have kept generations alive. Like, don't touch this because it's poisonous. Don't go there because you pass on culture. Culture is a system to keep you alive in the environment you're in. Cultures are meant to change and evolve depending on the environment you are. Right? They're practices that keep you alive. And this is passed down to your children to keep them alive. And we're supposed to be listening to our elders tell stories. And the insanity now, stories are coming through social media. We are listening to more stories through social media than we are from people and elders, from real life experience. Soon enough, we're going to be listening to stories from AI, not even a human. But right now, we're listening to stories of whomever gets the most views, whomever has, whomever's video gets the most views. Sometimes they're very young, inexperienced kids, young adults who have no idea what they're talking about, who have a loud mouth, a way of acting that is confident, that makes you want to perceive that they are saying something intelligent, and they're saying crazy stuff. So we're not using that part of our system that is meant to be connecting with a community through storytelling to survive our environment, and we are corrupting it and shoving all this information that has nothing to do and that is shallow, unhealthy, and a lot of it is violent. Is tapping and hacking that part of us that affects your heart rate. Can you believe that? So listen to those moments of gloom that are telling you to come back to the present. And listen deep. How long have you been inauthentic? How far have you strayed off your truth? How long? How many years? What have you built based on that lie? 30 years, 40 years, 5 years, 4 years, 1 month. Listen very carefully, because again, that can be the catalyst that changes your life. It's when you decide that, you know what? I have been avoiding my truth. And it's time to come home. It's time to come back to my truth. The sad thing is that kids that are connected to social media so early, so young, don't know how it feels to be authentically connected to nature and to your true self. All they know is distraction. So it's going to be very difficult for them when they're adults and their body starts to feel misaligned, to feel stress, to feel depression. It's going to be very hard to come back to a state of wholeness, to a state of presentness, because they've never felt it. I did not grow up with social media. Not only did I not grow up with social media, I grew up in a ranch with a lot of nature, a lot of presentness, so much presentness. So I know what it feels to be off. And I know what it feels to be back. but a lot of kids will have a hard time. So for parents, it's very important that you give nature to your kids, that you give them presentness. Just so when they get older, they know how to come back to it.